Tell them boys to tighten up, tighten up.
Let me hear you say it.
Whole city getting hype now. Tell them boys to tighten up, tighten up.
Let me hear you say it.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Cass here, and we are here to talk about this man, Ryan Tannehill, and why Ryan Tannehill can win a Super Bowl with the Tennessee Titans. So, we're going to look at some statistics, and I'm going to break some stuff down for you, because this man has been extremely targeted unfairly, not completely unfairly, but unfairly, by the Tennessee Titans fan base and by the NFL world entirely. This man was the reason we lost against Cincinnati. Pure blade. Was the reason we lost against Cincinnati. But we're also going to look at some other stuff. And some other people that I want to bring up. So, way to get into it. First of all, we're going to look at his time since coming to Tennessee. His first year, he only played 12 games. He threw, well, technically, realistically, I saw the games. He really only played 11. I don't know if they're counting the Denver game as him playing, as him starting, but we'll say in 11 games, he threw 22 touchdowns and 6 interceptions and had a very impressive 70% completion percentage. So, looking at all that, he had a really good running game that year. Very true. The next year, we're even going to get into that more. The next year, he throws for 3,800 yards, 7.9%. He runs a 65% completion percentage with 7.9 yards a play. With 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Neither of those are bad seasons. Neither one. But, then we get to the next one. He throws a better completion percentage than the previous year. Little less yards per play, but only throws 21 touchdowns with 14 interceptions. Okay, and you may say, that's a little, but then I want you to look at this number right here. He went from getting sacked 24 times to getting sacked 47 times, which is almost a career high, besides hit the time he was sacked 58 times his second year in Miami. So, I wanna just pair some stuff together. 47 times he was sacked. He threw 14 interceptions. Go back and watch some of the tape. Some of the interceptions were not his fault. So realistically, I'll say he threw about 11. That's me actually being unfair. Interceptions that were purely based on Ryan, 11. So, I want to compare him to somebody. Recently crowned Super Bowl champion, Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford was the first overall pick in 2009. Ryan Tannehill, of course, was the 11th pick by the Miami Dolphins, I do believe. Info, we will see if I am correct on that one. I believe he was the 11th pick. It does not show, but I do believe he was the 11th pick by the Dolphins. So we'll go with that. Anyway, we're going to look at some of his more recent times in LA. We're going to compare his 3 seasons to Ryan's 3 seasons. And I just want y'all to look at something. In 2019, he only played 8 games. Ryan played 11. In those 8 games, Matthew Stafford, I believe, threw 19 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Ryan Tannehill threw 22 to 6. So, pretty even there. He had about 64% completion percentage. Ryan had 67. Pretty almost complete even there. Then you move it on a little bit more. The next year, he has a 64% completion percentage, 26 touchdowns, 10 years. That's playing all 16 games. To be fair, that's in Detroit. I understand the limited production. I understand all that. Now, you get a super team. An absolute super team in the Los Angeles Rams. And I'm going to get to more of this later. He does an incredible 4,800 yards, 41 touchdowns, with a very high 17 interceptions, which is his second highest of the entire of his entire career, besides him throwing 20, his very first season. So, I am going to look at something. So, you remember when we had said that Ryan Tannehill was sacked 47 times? Well, if you look on here, in 2017, right here, Matthew Stafford was sacked 47 times. He threw 10 interceptions that year. Ryan threw 14. You look who he also had that year? 4,400 yards. So Matthew Stafford, with a fully healthy Detroit team, was able to throw 30 touchdowns basically with 10 interceptions. So, we're going to compare the difference and why people shouldn't be hating on Ryan as much as they do. Let's look at the 2021 Los Angeles Rams squad. With this team, Matthew Stafford threw a whopping 4,800 yards, 41 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. You have Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson, Sony Michel as your 3 running backs. Those are 3 running backs that debatably can start anywhere in the league. Let's continue. You have one of the best single seasons by a receiver of all time in Cooper Kupp. Funny, though, that the other best season by a single receiver was by Matthew Stafford. That's just a little thing I'm going to throw out there. Robert Woods was playing amazing at the very beginning of the season. Van Jefferson, severely underrated. And let's not talk about OBJ, who got traded and who has severely overcame what a lot of people thought his career was over. Also, they have Tyler Higbee, also underrated. And did y'all not see what Bryson Hopkins did in the Super Bowl? I know that he hadn't really showed up all season, and that was a really high-key thing for him to do, but he showed up. Also, let's look at this. The offensive line is really good in the LA. You have Andrew Whitworth and Rob Heidenstein, who have really been really solid tackles for years. But also, and if anybody was watching the game last night, y'all would have saw this. Despite how Jalen looked at sometimes, he got burnt on 2 plays. His whole yardages that he gave up in that game were from 2 bombs. One, where he got absolutely, without a doubt, face masked and thrown like 20 yards. Von Miller, Ernest Jones is a stud, and I don't care what anybody says. Aaron Donald, same with Sebastian Joseph Day, stud. But this defense is absolutely insane. So, this is why I think my prediction was so keen with me, is because I didn't see a team in the NFL that could beat this squad. And if this squad stays together, Aaron Donald doesn't retire, but if he does want to, all fair to you, you got your ring, brother, go retire. But I think this squad, comparing to this squad and not giving Ryan the chance that he really got, let's look at this. Derreck went down. So there's no Derrick Henry. There's your best player in the entire league on your team. The best running back in the entire league is Derrick Henry. He goes down. You basically then try to maintain what your team was already doing at the time. And they managed to do it. They really did. Deontay Foreman and Dontrell Hilliard really stepped up. But then you had the injuries to Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. And that's why a lot of people are giving this man hate for not catching that not catching that first down pass. But nobody wants to look at what he did all season. He was the only receiver when A.J. and Julio both were out that was making plays. No Chester Rogers. Chester Rogers was letting passes go off his foot. Des Fitzpatrick was lining up in wrong formations. He himself caused 2 of Ryan's interceptions by himself in the Texans game. Not only that, let's talk about very limited production from the tight end core. Jeff Swain, who is productive in some parts as a blocker. He's very productive as a blocker. But can be sneaky good in the receiving game. Anthony Ferguson completely was not an issue this year. Michael Pruitt was our best receiving tight end, but he got hurt midway through the year. Towards the end of the year, Ryan Izzo was a late year signing. Lawan struggled at the beginning of the year but came on later. He was actually better. Saffold had an all-pro season. Ben Jones struggled a little bit at the beginning but came on later. Nate Davis completely regressed. And for him being such a young player, I really hope that doesn't happen. But I'm excited to see what Ryan can do next year. Because I really want to see Ryan shut up the haters. Because I think he can win with this squad. And as much as I love the Titans defense, it's nothing like the Los Angeles Rams. You have some positions there where it's similar. Like Jeffery Simmons is Aaron Donald, I believe. Like, even Aaron Donald himself has said that. Jeffery Simmons is Aaron Donald. Like, and then you have Harold Landry, who I hope can stay. You got a really good linebacker core. Linebacker core, I would debate, is better in some positions than Los Angeles. But I would debate that Tennessee really needs one shutdown corner. Christian Fulton really tried to be that this year, but he's still struggling to get through the motions. And that's what I really think is going to be hard for this team going forward. Is being able to shut down number one receivers. But anyway, this is why I think Ryan could really win this team a Super Bowl. I'm not saying he will. And I'm not saying it's going to be next year. But I'm saying the opportunity is there for him to do what Matt Stafford did this season, next year. Anyway, guys, this has been your boy Cass, and I'm going to head out. Bye, guys.
Tell them boys to tighten up, tighten up.
Let me hear you say it.
Whole city getting hype now. Tell them boys to tighten up, tighten up.
Let me hear you say it.
Need